attempt coming up for a
The difference on that day was just the build-up, because although football had been played on ANZAC Day previously, there was this tradition that was beginning with Essendon and Collingwood. I think Kevin Sheedy putting this to the RSL and making this an absolute special day. And ironically, this was the first in the tradition that has continued all the way through.
He's a great historian, a lover of war, and studied war history, and often brought that up in different team meetings. And he was really good with us as a group leading into the ANZAC Day game, explaining the sacrifice that our servicemen and women had given in war, and why, how that has benefited us now.
So we thought it was a great idea, but it was just another footy game, and it was a beautiful day. It was when you got to the ground, and it took forever to get in, and we used to get to the games early then, and even then there was a massive crowd, you could tell.
People still outside the ground with the game about to start between Collingwood and Essendon, so the crowd inside is something like 90,000.
We decided actually to get a bus from Victoria Park. It's obviously only a few kilometres to the MCG, but we decided to get a bus rather than drive individually. And the bus drove into Brunton Avenue to drop the players off, and you could not move for the people. It was just packed.
Usually in that it's still before the game, half an hour, 45 minutes. There's empty spaces in the stand. That day there wasn't. There was chockers to the rafters, and you thought, well, this is going to be something special.
In '94, Collingwood played finals, didn't play in a finals series again until 2002. So ANZAC days were the days that we imagined were like a final. And when we eventually got there, it was evident that we weren't far wrong. It was, because it's a standalone game on a standalone day. If you lose that game, there's no coming back to play another ANZAC Day for the rest of the year. So for many reasons, and a big crowd, for many reasons it sort of felt like a final, and we treated it like one.
Essendon going right to left in the first quarter with a slight breeze. Here's Buckley getting the first touch. Slides off the hand pass to right. His kick over centre wing.
But one of the other great things about any Essendon and Collingwood rivalry is no matter how well or how bad both teams are travelling at that stage, they always put on a good game.
Pretty high scoring, tight tussle throughout the whole match, and Sav was having one of those days that he loved to have against Essendon, marking everything.
I remember Sav when he first came to the club. He was an athlete, he was a shot putter and discus. He was an elite junior athlete. I remember saying to someone, oh, this kid will never make it. Just how wrong I was.
Severio Rocker. Kicking from 45 metres. That's a leveller.
In particular, he seemed to get himself up for the Essendon games, and poor Fletcher always used to be handed the job and used to do a great job.
Whether it was Matthew Banks or Dustin Fletcher or Ryan O'Connor, who was sent back there a couple of times, he was just taking plucks and kicking long goals.
I knew I was in for a tough day when I'd played on Severio Rocker before, and to be honest, struggled against him. He was a big, strong full forward that was a beautiful kick. He was powerful, he could get off the ground and take a good mark. So I knew going into the game, probably being a bit nervous, coming up against a guy like Severio.
Well, he was big, strong and powerful. A beautiful kick, so he could kick the ball a long way. So if he had a shot at goal anywhere around the inside 50, he got the distance, no problems.
Aaron Jones is on the ground, brings it in towards the pocket. Rocker! Oh! Severio Rocker, a brilliant mark!
Jay Cockatoo was playing on me at the time. He had a really good game. So it was I wasn't dominant on the day. I think we were sort of going toe to toe, but at a point there, Shea was threatening to win the game for Essendon off his own boot. I think he had 2 shots on goal in the last quarter, so I remember thinking that I better tighten up here a little bit, even though I'm the one getting run with.
I think we got a couple of goals up, half time and 3/4 time. It swapped round, and you always remember in close games the last 5 or 6 minutes.
You don't want to be the one who actually makes that mistake and gives up the ball, and to see Hurdy come and snap a great goal for us right towards the end.
Snuck forward to the centre line and got loose, and then kicked kicked before. I don't even really know there was a kick until Sav's as good a target as any.
Christian, long kick, Brewer's there, and Rocco! Saverio Rocco!
I was playing on Sav when he took that big mark, must have been for his 9th goal. You know, I flew with him and I nearly got a fist on it, but the old story, he took a really good mark and kicked the goal. And from then on, there was, I think, about a minute or two to go.
I remember going back to the centre bounce and trying to communicate as you do with your on-ballers, your rucks, rovers, and try set up how you want for the next centre bounce. We actually found it hard, even though we're only a metre or two away, to hear each other. That's how loud the crowd was. And it sends tingles up the spine, the hairs on the back of the neck stand up.
The ball comes out from the wing, Essendon players trying to find it, somebody overruns it, ball comes through the centre, Bucks latches onto it.
I put the head down, had a bounce, checking Sav out all the while because he was marking everything.
A chance for Buckley, there is time, 15 seconds left, Nathan Buckley goes short, Rocker's there, front of the pack, all Essendon, I reckon it's going to be a draw.
I mean, if Sav had marked the ball, kicked the goal, good move. I mean, players tend to be judged on the consequences of their decisions.
You know, that's just pressure situation, isn't it? And Bucks was a fantastic kick and, you know, he was a fantastic player, but, you know, he probably could have gone on and at least kicked a point.
Time is out, 4 seconds left, the kick by Grenville. There's the siren. Unbelievable, the season's first draw.
I've had plenty of Collingwood people ask me why I didn't have a shot. It's probably one of the few times I didn't have a shot through those early years. I was having pings from everywhere, but it didn't really matter what the options were or what had happened. If you've got the ball in your hand with a minute to go and you don't win the game, well then I was dirty with myself because it's an opportunity missed to be the hero. And I sort of welcomed that and wanted that.
I mean, really, the games you want, high scoring, close. It was a high scoring game, Sav Rocker kicked 10 goals, that was an outstanding spectacle, and it was a draw. I mean, what more could you get? And a gigantic crowd. Talk about launching a concept in a big, big way. 95 did that.
As a Collingwood fan, I wish Bucks had shot for goal, but as a football fan, I'm glad he didn't because I'm glad we got a draw.
I reckon it's helped educate a lot of football players, but it's also helped educate a lot of football fans who may have been ignorant to the fact about what ANZAC Day was actually about.
We got to go to the the dawn service, and we did a lot of that stuff leading up to it. So it doesn't matter where they are on the ladder, and supporters, walking to the ground, there's always that feeling that something's going to happen in that game.
And everyone hoped that ANZAC Day would be a special, big day in the footy calendar. It's a special day in Australia's calendar, we know that, but it would be a big day in footy. But again, no one could have possibly envisaged what was happening in '95 would happen, and once it did happen, it was launched.